Hello and welcome to a very English craft room and another in the scrapbooking series. Chatsworth Challenge number 4. So for the Chatsworth Challenge I decided that I would challenge myself to use a limited number of sheets of papers in a set range of shades and a limited number of embellishments, and to see how many pages I could actually complete using just those limited number of items. So this is number 4 in the series. The other videos are available on my channel if you would like to have a look. So for this one I'm only going to use one photograph, and I've cut it into a square because this actually framed the object of the photograph better for me, well, in my opinion. So I'm just backing it with some grey paper there with a little sort of almost like wallpapery type pattern on the back, and using double-sided tape and the dental tool there just to take it off. You can see that the piece of card that I actually mounted it on there, the grey one, I had torn against a ruler to give a slightly rough edge. And that was just the scrap that was left, so it was perfect for that photograph. So then I'm just adding a piece of sort of olivey green behind and just cutting that nice and straight using a roticutter and a steel edge ruler. So these are the pieces of paper that I've selected to go with this picture. So you can see it's a picture of a horse's head. It's actually a piece of modern art that's in Chatsworth Gardens. They have quite a lot of modern art type installations in the gardens, which they change on a relatively regular basis. So all the photographs I've used in the Chatsworth Challenge were from a day out that we had in the middle of, well, in between 2 lockdowns, when we were allowed to meet with up to 6 people outside. We had a day out for my son's birthday, and we met. He didn't know we were going, so it was a bit of a surprise for him, and it was nice to have a day out and meet with the 2 kids and their partners. So to get maximum use out of the paper, I'm cutting it so I can use, rather than covering some of it up, I can use the rest of it for another page, so trying to be as economical as possible. So just sticking the 2 bits together, and I'm using a sheet of 12 by 12 underneath, which happens to be the same as the bit I'm sticking on there, just to make sure that I get the measurements correct, so that the final paper, even though it's made up of 2 different bits, is actually still 12 by 12. So to ensure a good stick, I'm using a double line of tape there, and I'm also going to stick on a strip as a sort of dividing line or a border, whatever you want to call it. So using the T-square to make sure I'm getting everything lined up nice and straight. So for some reason I think I'm going to put the little border strip on first, which I'm not really sure why I did it that way, but there we go. And again you can see that the edges of that is either rough, torn, or I've used a distressing tool on it. It's quite a while ago now that I actually prepared some of these bits of paper, so I can't quite remember. So using the dental tool there just to pull off the tape, and I can see I've not quite left enough tape to stick the remains of the paper on, so just sticking another one over the top. I've used this sort of green flowered paper with the mock stitched edge on most of the layouts actually that I've done in this challenge. So again, just lining everything up neatly using the T-square. I find that's quite an invaluable tool to use. So I think I spent some time trying to decide which way up I'm going to put that, whether I'm going to have the stitching over the edge there or right at the edge of the paper. So I think I've decided then to put the mock stitched edge there, overlapping that little strip. So now I've made my backing paper, I can now put the bits and pieces onto it. So I've decided I'm going to have a little bit of a journaling spot there by the looks of it, which is the same width as the square that I've got there with the photographs on, and again the edges have been rough cut, so just using the T-square again to make sure everything's nicely lined up and straight. Again, the dental tool to pick off the backing paper there. So this bit of paper again is probably one of the last bits of that bit with the butterflies on, and again I've used that on nearly every page that I've done for this challenge. So they will all tie in nicely and with a nice memory of my son's birthday. So I've used a piece of the green that was from the backing there that I cut off to make the journaling spot, and now I'm going to pull out some embellishments. I had selected quite a lot of green embellishments. You'll see that a lot of them are hearts and butterflies, trying to use up some of the stuff that has been sitting around for quite a while. So I don't know about you, but I have quite a lot of embellishments, and I seem to have the compulsion to buy more and more. Somebody once said to me that there are two hobbies connected to scrapbooking. One is the scrapbooking itself, and one is collecting things to do with scrapbooking, and I think quite a lot of scrappers or scrapbookers, whatever you want to call us, are actually guilty of that. It was quite a nice day out with the family, although it did rain a little bit, but we weren't too bothered about that. It was just nice to meet up with each other, having been locked out in lockdown for quite a number of months up to that point. Little did we know that it was going to continue on so much longer. This was in July of 2020, and as I'm recording this, it's actually the very end of March 2021, so almost up to another year. Coincidentally, it's actually almost my daughter's birthday, and this will be her second birthday in lockdown, and it will be her 30th birthday. So it's a real pity, really, that we will still be in sort of semi-lockdown. I think they're easing things a little bit by the time it's her birthday, but not as much as maybe we would hope. So using the T-square again, just to make sure my journaling is nice and level. I don't have the neatest handwriting, and I was always a little bit shied away from using my own handwriting, and I would print things out to go in scrapbooks. But as somebody said to me once, it is quite nice for future generations to be able to see your handwriting, although maybe they won't be able to read it, but we will see. So you'll see I've put the title up the top there, Majestic, because I felt that this horse's head was quite majestic, and it made a nice little title there. So noticed that the eye wasn't sticking down properly, so I've just used a bit of glue there. Sometimes the alphas lose their stickiness in storage, and actually I've found that when they've been stuck on the page for a while, sometimes they fall off when you go back and have a look and have to stick them down with glue. So maybe actually I should just stick them down with glue straight away. That would make a lot of sense, really. So playing around here with little bits, I don't think I put many embellishments on here, although I could be wrong. Like I say, it's a long time ago since I did this. This was filmed before Christmas on an older camera, so the quality isn't quite as good as the stuff I've been filming more recently with a newer camera, so I apologise for that. So again, just having a fiddle around, little words there that are from a set. It's on a little strip of various different colours with the same sort of inspirational words on, so you can cut them up and use them. It is double-sided, so different fonts and then different colours on each side. So I've used quite a few of those recently, but I've still got quite a lot left, so maybe I should try and use some more of those up soon. So the odd button, the odd paper embellishment there, and some washi tape type embellishments. So just tucking things in behind the different layers. I think it just gives an extra dimension if you tuck things between the layers, not just against things or under the bottom layer. It just visually gives a little bit more impact. So coronavirus continues, and yesterday and the day before we've recently had notification that 2 concerts and festivals that we were going to go to in July this year have now been postponed, one till September and one till July of next year, so 2022. And I've also rebooked one of the holidays that I had booked that I'd moved 3 times already. I've moved it again, so here's hoping that eventually we might be able to get out and do some of the things that we've been enjoying doing in the past, and maybe I've taken them for granted. Maybe that's one lesson we should learn from all this coronavirus stuff is that we shouldn't take our loved ones and seeing them for granted, and we shouldn't take the experiences that we enjoy for granted, and be thankful for each day that we have and each new experience. I actually enjoyed doing this challenge it was a challenge I set myself to use up a limited number of papers and embellishments and see how many layouts I can do. Is it something that you've done? Comment down below, or maybe it's something you might consider doing. Maybe to use up some of that stash that's been sat there and you haven't really known what to do with it. Because sometimes we buy new stuff and use that, and the stuff we've had in the past just sits there and sort of languishes in the box. So maybe we should challenge ourselves to use some of the stuff we've got. I'm definitely trying to do that because we hope to move soon, so I really need to reduce some of the stash that I've got and use some of that up. So using some foam here, foam squares on the back of this button, because the shank makes it stick out too much, so it just levels it up, and I put another strip across the top there, so then that will stick down nicely without sort of rocking from one side to the other. I've got this bright green butterfly here. Didn't actually think I'd stuck it down in the end, but clearly I do, so that shows you how much I remember. So that looks like that little embellishment at the top corner is just about finished. So now I'm just sticking down that one, and oh, sorry about the wobbles there. I must have I'm holding the camera by hand so that I can show you the picture. Not the best photographic skills, but we live and we learn, don't we? So it looks like it's finished there. Little silvery butterfly on that embellishment. So hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd hope you come back and join me in some of my others, particularly some of the ones I've filmed more recently. They're a little bit more slick and polished. So here's the finished item for you to have a look at. If you like this video, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. And if you like travel, maybe try and find my other channel, which is Travel With Me Fruit Loop Films, where you can see some of my trips abroad and trips within this country. So thank you for joining me in a very English craft room.